Hi, I'm Jean Wiley. I have been on YouTube for over 8 years. I've served over 5,000 clients. I started coaching 20 years ago, and all of my services include the 12 transit cycle ahead, both pre-recorded, the 60-minute, and if you'd like to dive deeper for a 90-minute coaching session, I would love to speak with you. But I specialize in working with people during times of transition. Okay, this is the Uranus-Taurus video. Uranus will be transiting Taurus from May 15th, 2018 through 2026. Uranus rules expanded consciousness, inventions, computers, the future, smashing status quo, erratic behavior, lightning, electricity, science, the internet, unique approaches, reactiveness. Where Uranus transits, you seek more freedom. And you can bet that there will be patterns in a state of change. Uranus also rules astrology, yoga, kundalini, life force, the body as an electrical system, outer space, clairvoyance, and it breaks old structures represented by Saturn. Taurus rules stability, productivity, personal resources, self-esteem, substance, goals focused on accumulation of money and possessions, talents, abilities, inner resources, self-worth, self-reliance, money, pride, insecurity, fear of loss, the voice, the throat chakra, using your talent, stewardship of your personal resources, banks. And in mundane astrology, Taurus rules the economy, the national wealth and prosperity, banks, financial institutions, investments, stocks, bonds, currency, liquid assets, consumer spending, museums, and galleries. So we can get a flavor of what's coming in here as we look at these two energies. But I also find that it is useful to take a look back, because for the past 7 years, since 2011, Uranus has been transiting through Aries. And through the past 7-year period, we've seen courage and defensiveness, conflict with others on the rise, personal awakening on the rise, anger and frustration, especially when you feel that your will is blocked. Then you move into hard control themes, right, wrong, yes, no. And we're certainly seeing this very much in play in the world. The last time that Uranus transited Aries was from 1927 to 1935. It was after the Roaring Twenties. It was during the rise of fascist dictators such as Hitler, Stalin, and Mussolini. We saw democratic systems enthrall to the fascism of big business. And we are seeing currently a push for everything to be privatized, which equates to profit and continued erosion of individual freedoms. So, this is revolutions against old regimes and patriarchal dictatorships. The Arab Spring occurred in 2011. The innovations that have risen strongly over the past 7 years have been drones, electronic warfare. Aries rules war. Uranus rules electronic and technology. We can now efficiently kill at a distance. Militarized police, disclosure, as in the secret space program. That is an arm of our military-industrial complex. Aliens, social media has been on the rise. More radiation has been pouring onto the planet as our solar system heats up and all of the planets within it. We saw the Hadron Collider at CERN come into being, the God particle, which is about dark matter and energy. And we've seen the rise of AI, artificial intelligence. So as we're looking at this very, very new theme that is coming in, exact on May 15th, this is going to be bringing a focus on the finances, financial reversals, and monetary systems, and taxation, mass karma, the collective. Uranus in Taurus is going to be bringing a change in value systems, banking systems, profit-driven privatization, greed is good mentality, currency. And Uranus is very specific. That's how chart rectification is done, and that's not my thing. I'm a counseling or coaching astrologer. But Uranus transits are so specific and exact that we can ascertain rising sign, etc., based on Uranus transits. Uranus transits in your personal chart will really be given thrust if they are conjuncting or squaring an angle your personal planets, Moon, Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Saturn certainly, and of course Jupiter. Uranus prompts change and its growth in consciousness, which we have been seeing strongly on the planet the past decade as well. It's cosmic galactic forces, right? So this is generational change. These planets that are way out there, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto, this is collective consciousness and generational consciousness. When it conjuncts or squares or is in strong connection to a personal planet, that's when you're feeling it more personally. And it's often beyond conscious control. It's the kind of thing that happens. You know, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto move through the ecliptic so slowly as far as their connection with Earth that they have specific effects on human beings. And with Uranus, we're seeing a change in life patterns, flashes of insight, new ideas, original concepts. Uranus is electric, it's quick, it's unbelievable at times, it's profound, it's exciting. You don't always have control over what's happening. Uranus is reactive, freedom, finances, investments, technology, jaw-dropping developments. And people power rising against corporate money and power. Cryptocurrency, crowdfunding, the electronic use of resources are going to all be on the rise in development and experience in the collective as Uranus transits Taurus. You know, Pluto transforms things forever, right? It just does. It's power in large groups of individuals pushing against corporations and power. That's what the Pluto Capricorn is bringing us. And we've seen, you know, Uranus awakens just how trapped people will become aware of the banking system. And a lot of people are not aware of how the banking system really works, the Federal Reserve System, the Babylonian slave system. And so this is going to be a huge area of consciousness and awakening into the next 7-year period. And no system that keeps a majority down lasts. Uranus was discovered in 1781 during the French Revolution, the Industrial Revolution, and the American Revolution. The American Revolution and the fight against British taxation, fighting against the empire and British rule on the backs of the struggling people. And what priced humanity, what priced human beings, you know, government and big systems, taxation systems are all part of this transformational time. In the United States, Uranus is moving into the 5th house. And the 5th house in state or country horoscopes and astrology talks about revolution through the entertainment industry, which we're already seeing with the Me Too movement. because the fifth house in mundane astrology corresponds to children and their welfare, and women's rights and their welfare. So we're already feeling and seeing this heating up as Uranus heads into that fifth house. And it's squaring now in 2018 and through part of 2019 the natal Pluto in the second house of money and greed and government and power, the stock market. And Uranus is also moving through what is called the progressed third house in the United States chart, which has to do with school systems. And a new group of activists that are arising, where we have the Nessus return occurring, is happening in that third house. So, and then Chiron in April 2018 is moving into the fourth house and will be opposing the United States midheaven. And Chiron speaks about the wounding of its people. Fourth house is the people, the living conditions of the population, and the housing, and the real estate, and the weather conditions, and the crops. So we're seeing a tidal wave of shift in themes, where there's been an awakening of a population, Uranus through the fourth house. Now Chiron will be moving in to bring more awareness and sensitivity and wounds and ultimately healing around these very areas. So a very interesting time that we're heading into. And now I'm going to start with the sign by sign. So for you, Aries, this is occurring in your second house. Uranus will be transiting your second house from 2018 to 2026. And Uranus rules your 11th house of goals and the future and the collective and teams. And I also encourage you to also take a look at where Uranus is in your natal chart, because it always ties to the natal placement of Uranus as well. But this will be a time for you, your Aries, over the next 7 years where your values will be changing and the way you earn money may be changing. And there may be an uneven flow between how much you make and down times. You may make a bunch of money at once and then have nothing coming in for a while. It can signal an uneven flow of resources. Uranus through your second house also suggests progressive talents and abilities that you're connecting with. It's an unpredictable energy, but it's, freeing yourself of possessions too may be part of this transit that tie you down. Changes in your economic and material situation can be part of the 7-year transit. Sudden income and sudden outgo can be part of the Uranus transit. If any job has become rote or dead for you, you'll make changes, or the universe will do it for you. So you want to keep yourself open to new opportunities. This can be a magnificent time for working with progressive ideas, movements, technology, science, astrology, yoga, any of the healing modalities. But rest assured, your value system is going to be shifting along with this Uranus transit as it moves through your second house, and awakening you to financial situations, money situations, and resource situations into the next 7 years ahead. For you, Taurus, Uranus, as you well know probably, is moving into your first house for the next 7-year period through 2026. And Uranus rules your fourth house of your inner self, soul renewal, your personal life. So there's going to be more of a focus with your personal life as well as your own identity. Freedom themes are very strong for you at a personal level into the next 7 years ahead. And rebellion needs can open you for personal change. Watch your movements. Accidents, you can be more accident prone with Uranus transiting through your first house simply because you're not paying attention and moving too quickly. So you want to be very grounded and methodical in your functions. And there's often accidents when there's incongruity between your conscious and unconscious. And you'll become more aware of that as well. central nervous system is something to take a look at with the Uranus transit through your first house, Taurus, especially when it conjuncts your personal planets, personal angles. What's happening on the planet is because we have more energy coming in, the biological side of human beings have to upgrade their systems in order to handle the energy. It's electrical upgrades. We're battery systems, our chakra systems. So this may become more important for you into the next 7 years ahead. And magnesium helps, and essential fatty acids like omega-3s helps, because it helps with that myelin sheath at your nerve endings. So your central nervous system may very well be going through an upgrade and requiring more water and more tending to. Astrology and yoga may become of more interest to you, energy work. But certainly this is a time for new perceptions and new awakenings and a new lens on how you view life, how you view yourself within life. You'll view yourself very differently at the end of this transit. Inexplicable, odd, strange, unpredictable things can be happening too. And I would assert part of that is going on to build your muscle of flexibility and being present in the world. Hi, Gemini. For you, Uranus is transiting into your 12th house, which rules your 3rd house in your chart, Gemini rising. And that has to do with the conscious mind. The 12th house has to do with the unconscious mind. So you can see that there's going to be an awakening and probably more of a bridging between the different hemispheres, between the left brain and right brain. You can find that this is a time with Uranus transiting through the 12th house where manifestations are coming more quickly, where sudden events are based on past actions are developing. There may be an altruistic desire to serve and change the world, be of service to the world with Uranus transiting through your 12th house. Creative people can be feeling a strong urge, the artistic and the creative side of working with technology and different techniques. Uranus through the 12th may see you on a path of spiritual awakening, where you're connecting more and more with different dimensions of reality as well. Precognitive dreams may be a part of this. Making the unconscious conscious, keeping track of your dreams can be very useful for you too, Gemini, into the next 7-year period ahead, because the subconscious mind is mission control. Subconscious never forgets a thought pondered, a word spoken, an action taken. So there lies the treasure chest, and Uranus, the awakening planet, is moving through this very area of your life that symbolizes that which may be hidden to you now, but which will become more evident and available to you at the conscious levels. Emerging themes that have been in hiding may be part of this Uranus transit. And going beyond that third dimensional reality of perception. Uranus through the 12th can also see unpredictability with people who end up in the hospital, or confinement themes, or needing to be of service, or surrendering, or sacrificing your time on behalf of someone who may be dealing with some sort of confinement. Secrets can come bubbling up with Uranus transiting through the 12th house as well. For you, Cancer, Uranus will be transiting through your 11th house. Now, the 11th house has to do with your goals and the people that you hang out with, your compadres, your tribe, your team members, the collective. Uranus transiting through that 11th house operates very well with technology, social media, progressive ideas. Uranus rules that 8th house of merging with other people's resources, too. Other people's resources through the collective energy, through the friendship energy, through the formation of goals. So there can be revolution occurring in your hopes and dreams. You may become more and more aware that new and different lifestyles are possible for you. You can become disdainful of the feeling of fitting in at the cost of your own individuality and authenticity. You may be attracting new kinds of friends during the Uranus-Taurus transit in your 11th house. Genius types of people, independent types of people. There may be more unpredictability with friends, friendships, groups, group dynamics. But this is a time where you may be seeking, shared ideals with like-minded folks who think a little bit out of the box over this next 7 years. And assuredly, friends and team members and any body that you join to participate in can become more unpredictable during this time, and to learn more flexibility with that as well. For you, Leo, Uranus is transiting through your 10th house, which rules your 7th house. For you, Leo rising, how you interact with others, the public, professional people that you connect with, your committed partnerships. Uranus into the 10th house is radical changes potentially in career, life direction, with authority figures, with your status in the world. You may be seeking your own unique identity over the next 7-year period, and may be less tolerant of power games, hierarchical versus flat leadership models, right? And there can be little concern for social status during this time, actually, because Uranus is not tied to convention or to expectations. And less tolerant of others having control over you can be part of this Uranus-Taurus transit. Sudden or unexpected opportunities at work or in the community can occur. Sudden and unexpected changes in life direction and with authority figures and with parents and with career. Sudden downsizing, sudden moving of home office, that kind of thing. It's a time to be really flexible about all of that as Uranus transits your 10th house. Because the more you go with your own need for freedom, and I find this pretty consistently, the less disturbed you will be by the Uranus transit. Because the universe is saying, if you don't make change in areas where you know you really need to make change, we'll make it for you. And we know, Leo, that you don't like change thrust upon you, so you're going to be learning a little bit about that during this next 7-year period. If you're holding on to a career that no longer suits you, you may make change, or the universe may make change for you. But certainly, this period ahead for you is about earning and gaining and experiencing more freedom. For you, Virgo, Uranus is transiting through your 9th house. Big picture, higher consciousness, study, education, travel, legalities, publishing, media relationships, promotions, websites. And Uranus does rule your 6th house for Virgo rising. So this may be bringing some real change through these expansive areas, 9th house, adventures, to your day-to-day living situation, day-to-day working situation. Uranus transiting through your 9th house for the next 7 years is bringing more focus on travel and exploration and mind-expanding activities. Your need for new horizons. Technology can be play a stronger role in your daily living or daily work. And utilizing that in order to get your message out to a broader audience. Higher education may be part of this transit. Unexpected and exciting travel. Meeting with unpredictable circumstances, legally, educationally, with media. Opportunities that come out of the blue in these areas. Uranus through the 9th house can bring a focus on electronic publishing, being shown where your thinking and belief systems have become rote or outdated in some way. Your belief systems are certainly going to be in a state of change and development and emancipation as Uranus transits through your 9th house. And inflexible thinking can be a little bit disruptive now, but certainly a time that is going to change you greatly, and I think in a very interesting and positive way, because this is in harmony to your sun sign, your rising sign. For you, Libra, Uranus will be transiting through your 8th house. And Uranus rules your 5th house. For Libra rising, your 5th house of creativity and romance and children and self-expression. So Uranus transiting through this 8th house carries those themes with it. And change is good for you, because this can be a time of strong reinvention of self, transforming self, letting go of old fears and worries and psychological connections that have perhaps dragged you down a little bit. You may be impatient with the status quo with Uranus transiting through the 8th house. 8th house is also about channeling, connecting with different dimensional energy, and you may find that this grows into the next 7 years ahead with your psychic development. There can be a change with partners' resources as Uranus transits through your 8th house. Their income, or they may make a radical change in what they do, which changes the relationship in the resources. There can be very fated events that bring change in your life now. 8th house material, Libra. An old order is passing away as a new one is coming into development. Deaths, restrictions are more, deaths may be part of this, both literal and figurative, in your life over the next 7 years. Restrictions become more and more intolerable for you now, too. And if your money is tied to another, this could be a little unpredictable. If your money is tied to another person or resources. So a business partner, marriage partner, banking system. There could be unexpected inheritances during this time, Libra, but it's a wise time to avoid dependence on anyone else's money if you can, to become really, really independent and to invest money in tangible goods. Taurus rules gold, right? Precious metals, that kind of thing. But moving in with another can also bring freedom themes to the fore, or revolutionize you in some way. Interacting with other person's resources in the way of their physical space. A very different sexual relationship than you've ever had may be part of this Uranus 8th house transit. And changing patterns in intimacy is strongly magnified during this 7-year period as well. For you, Scorpio, Uranus is moving into your 7th house of Taurus through 2026. So Uranus rules that 4th house of yours, right? So there's something about home, relationships, committed partnerships, perhaps working with clients from your home. All of these can be themes. But this can be a time where your relationship patterns are in a state of change over the next 7 years. This can be a difficult time for one-on-one relationships that are not working well, where you've been going along to get along. Uranus transits comes in and hits a personal planet, opposes your ascendant, and you just might not be able to take it anymore, or you need some different patterns within the relationship. If you've been contending with unsatisfactory business or personal relationships, it can be very hard to keep that afloat over the next several years. So needed changes, new but unstable relationships may be part of this cycle in order to escape, in order to find excitement. There can be unpredictable energy from others that you're just kind of wild and different. And part of that is to strengthen your muscle of being stronger and tougher in the way that other people's responses and reactions, you can let them bounce off you and not take them in. You may be working with others in a unique and progressive way with Uranus transiting through your 7th house. But certainly you're going to have unpredictable people crossing your path. And you'll be building skill sets around that, too. Open hostilities. But a new and more authentic relationship patterns are part of this transit of Uranus through your 7th house. You may connect with experts in their field, progressive people. You may be working with people in astrology, yoga, energy work. It can be a time for connecting to some real brilliant and genius kind of folks that are different than your usual mainstream comfort level. And so you'll grow and develop those muscles around dealing with a variety of people into the next 7 years ahead. For you, Sagittarius, Uranus is transiting into your 6th house. Now, for Sagittarius rising, Uranus rules your 3rd house. Yes. So your mind and communications is going to be part of the shifts in your daily schedule. This is about the most day-to-day stuff in your life, your habits, your tasks and responsibilities. There can be new attitudes and relationships in your work life with Uranus transiting through the 6th house. You may want more freedom with Uranus transiting through your 6th house and leave those 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 jobs for project work, task-oriented work, part-time work, to develop your own business potentially. But I'll tell you, developing your own business is more work than the 8 to 5, but you love what you do. So this could be a time over this next 7-year period, Sagittarius, where you're breaking free of work and duties that are drudgery or overly obligatory. You seek new challenges now, working with computers, technology, astrology, progressive skill sets can be part of your development into the next 7 years. It's a time to take care of your nervous system too, Sagittarius. It can be disruptive with health surprises. And I'll tell you how this manifests. If you hang in to a job or a way of living that has just become so rote, so routine, that resisting the need for change can take root in the body, because we always have the mind-body. So the body's electrical systems and how that can manifest as is disharmony in the cell structures. That's what disease is. So you want to be mindful of bringing in ways of giving yourself more pockets or a feeling of more freedom and growth and new experiences. If you usually go to the store in the morning, you may want to go at midnight. You know, just even small shifts and changes can bring about an element of awakening and new patterns. Pets and domestic animals, there may be something unusual or different about them with Uranus transiting through the 6th house. They may be unpredictable, more unpredictable than you've experienced in the past. Co-workers, service people may not be, as reliable during this time as well. But Uranus through the 6th house is also, there's lots of distractions and disruptions when Uranus is transiting through the 6th. Someone calls and you've got to get up and you've got to handle that. You get up in the day and you think things are going to go this way, and then all of these things come in to intercede and shift your attention in the way of distraction and viable things that need to be handled for that matter. So you're going to get stronger and build out that muscle in dealing with distractions in your life and being more flexible. You're pretty flexible anyway. But your work patterns, there's new patternings beginning, especially when Uranus hits a personal planet or angle in your chart. For you, Capricorn, Uranus is transiting into your 5th house over the next 7 years. Uranus naturally rules your 2nd house of your personal resources and talents and abilities and the way you make money. So there's a little bit of theme of that to pull into that 5th house. So Uranus through the 5th house is new forms of self-expression that are seeking to be born during this 7-year transit, and creative self-release. There can be unexpected pregnancies, so you want to keep a handle on that if applicable. But you want new experiences, Capricorn. And this is consciousness expanding too, and experimenting with life, and redefining yourself, and redefining your approaches to life. Uranus through the 5th house can be about children that are in a state of change, or there are upsets with children, or you need to be more conscious of what's going on with the children in your life. This can be very genius-influenced transit with a lot of unique expression, technology, astrology, innovation. Unusual dating patterns can be part of the Uranus 5th house transit, and love relationships, different backgrounds. You may be attracting people that are very different than your norm. To learn about that difference, someone who's older, younger, different culture, etc. Not atypical during a Uranus 5th house transit. And there may be some unconventional relating, and with any love relationships that crop up. I'll tell you, Uranus through the 5th is not really dependable unless there's other things going on in your chart. And depending on where you are, I can't see your individual chart, and there are a myriad of possibilities. But generally speaking, Uranus through the 5th house is kind of unpredictable relationships. So if you're looking for that forever mate, this may be a little bit of a challenging time for you, unless your chart is going through some strong themes that are modifying this somewhat. But it is a time to connect with some different and unusual playmates, and have fun and experience different things and try different things. And children can certainly be a very innovative and inventive element and quality in your life as Uranus transits the 5th as well. For you, Aquarius, Uranus is transiting through your 4th house. So Uranus transits are doubly important for you. Aquarius rising, Aquarius sun sign, because it is your sign rulership. And with Uranus transiting through the 4th house, this is affecting you in a very personal way. The 4th house is your personal life, your private life, where you live, how you live, family, parents, residence. And changes in the most personal areas of your life are occurring with the Uranus transit through your 4th house. Your relationships with your parents, with your family. There may be a real need for change in these areas of your life. You may be feeling too tied down, too constrained. So this is about freedom, and releasing yourself from the past can be part of the Uranus 4th house transit. Unexpected moves. And I see this with clients as Uranus is heading into that 4th house. I'm like, you've got some moves coming up. No, I don't. Well, yeah, you do. You just don't know it yet. This is a ripe transit for unexpected moves, unexpected shifts and changes in residential circumstances and living situations. Change in family life may be part of the Uranus transit through your 4th house. But it's seeking to bring more flexibility to your personal life. And you're not always real flexible, Aquarius. You don't like change thrust upon you. We understand that. We acknowledge that. We respect that. But the more you can be flexible and operating from this very foundational point of your life experience, the better it will be for you. There can be a change in your unconscious mind, changed views of reality. A positive is connecting with more personal independence and emancipation during this time. For you, Pisces, Uranus is transiting through your 3rd house for Pisces rising. And for Pisces rising, Uranus naturally rules your 12th house of the subconscious mind. So it's interesting that the energy that rules that 12th house for Pisces rising is going to be moving into the 3rd house of the conscious mind, isn't it? So the 3rd house is everyday life, the everyday routine, day to day with neighbors, the neighborhood, relatives, siblings, friends, that's under a state of change. Uranus through the 3rd is changing mental attitudes, new interests that are Uranian in nature can be part of the next 7 years. Science, technology, yoga, astrology, activism. But there's a tempo increase when Uranus heads into the third. You're done with the uneven financial situation. Now it's about emancipating and awakening your conscious mind to some of the subconscious and unconscious elements of self. But details can become more important with Uranus transiting through the third, and communications, effective communications, and not letting details slip. Letters, emails, texts, phone calls increase. I'd also like you to be very aware of when you're commuting and your car and driving patterns and impatience patterns, and to slow down and perhaps not take as many risks or chances if you're prone to do so. Uranus in the third house can make you impatient while you're commuting, and can bring some less than desirable effects through that impatience. But this can be an extremely innovative time mentally for you, Pisces, and for communication, and for education themes, and writing, and self-expression. There may be unusual or unpredictable situations with siblings or relatives during this time as well. But certainly, after the 7-year period, you're going to find that your mind and your cognitive processing of things has changed a great deal.